Education isn't designed to make people comfortable. It's designed to make them think, remarked Yvonne C. Williams, Dean of the faculty at Worcester College in Ohio. Williams was discussing a required freshman seminar devoted to difference, power, discrimination, perspectives on race, gender, class, and culture. Scott C. Heller's 1992 article in the Chronicle of Higher Education describes this controversy that would metastasize through the academy in the coming decades. Once the realm of separate university departments, such as African American studies, gender studies, and the like, the malign influence of postmodernism and deconstructionism has extended to other once sacrosanct disciplines. The assumption that what humans know as fact is colored by the race, gender, background, or biases of past generations of practitioners has pulled the rug out from the very essence of knowledge and replaced it with mere opinion, individual experience-based truths, and a moral or ethical equivalence that cast grave doubts on human achievement and the forward movement of history. Williams' statement is remarkable because it lays bare her priorities as an administrator in two stark terms. The first is comfort, and the second is design. In a world where objective facts should be binary, they're either true or they're not, the question of whether the student is, quote, comfortable with those facts never need enter the equation. In Williams' world, however, it soon becomes apparent that the discomfort of some students is acceptable. The article describes the increasing frustration among past students of the course who were subjected to critiques of American society with little acknowledgement of past progress or solutions. When Williams states that education is something, quote, designed, it's clear that her goal is not necessarily the improved knowledge and moral or ethical enlightenment of humankind. Instead, education is designed to right perceived wrongs, make students think about the world around them, not by what they see empirically day to day, and draw conclusions, but to draw conclusions preordained by the assumptions provided in the course's framework. If a student disagrees with the narrative and its assumptions, it's usually attributed to the student's biases or privilege, reducing thought to a mere reflection of one's skin color, socioeconomic class, gender, or sexual orientation. One of the most interesting and heartening effects of Jerry L. Summers' essay, Teaching History, the Gospel, and the Postmodern Self, is his deep faith that since we are all equal at the foot of the cross, a Christian historian can imbue his teaching and personal student relationships with that understanding. In the setting of Calvin College or Wheaton College, Summers has a wonderful point. More treacherous, though, is the teaching of objective history in the secular academy, where in a very real way, wolves seeking the destruction of Christian academics or secular conservative ones have multiplied with technology and social media. Without going into great detail, the effectiveness of propaganda over the past 50 years has overturned some of the most long-standing positions of the Catholic and Protestant faiths in the public mind. And a violation of these new norms can result in firing, allegations of racism, sexism, homophobia, and on and on. Summers seems to deal with the prospect by approaching his subjects with humility, as he writes, quote, recognizing my limitations and those of other limited individuals. As a teacher or an academic, I can recognize my own limited understanding of subject matter, but it also takes others to come to the realization that their assessments are limited in the same way, in their own way. One deep source of controversy today is the 1619 Project, a newspaper series by the New York Times that was transformed into a learning curriculum for school students. When some of the project's historical assertions were disputed by facts, the non-professional historian, journalist, activists who wrote it, Nicole Hannah-Jones and others, attempted to belittle the perspective of those who discovered the error. Historians who counter the factual basis for some of the 1619 Project's claims are belittled as reflecting the perspective of white historians or privileged class members. Even James McPherson, the highly respected author of Battle Cry Freedom, is derided as merely a, quote, white historian by Hannah-Jones. Hayden White thought that all stories, including history, could be fit into 4 categories: romance, comedy, tragedy, or satire. While a historian might see dramatic aspects of a subject's story, a Shakespearean-like tale of corrupting power, for instance, the sheer number of pressures, influences, competing facts, and unknowns don't allow us as historians to partake in this sort of reductionism. Gore Vidal wrote Burr in such a manner, but he never claimed to be anything but a novelist. Frederick only believes that history can be told in such a story type due to the assumption that historians determine which facts are important and which are not. However, the unspoken corollary of this position is that historians can and do extrapolate based on their own biases and perspectives to improve the story they are telling. It's the job of the professional historian and those who teach history to resist such embellishment and separate the supported facts from the apocryphal. The readings effectively pointed out the necessity of providing students with a perspective on factual history that regards them as individuals rather than hostages to a nebulous, evil, and insurmountable past. At the end of a great deal of thinking about the issues raised by the readings of this assignment, the only answer that makes sense is to hold to the idea that we're all equal at the foot of the cross, and that history of all people should be valued and deemed valid. Thank you.